Welcome to All the Horror Podcast. Each episode will feature a spine-tingling, creepy horror story that will keep you awake. Enjoy the story.
Listeners, prepare to be captivated by a true tale of terror that unfolded in the heart of Pakistan. Join me as we journey back to a fateful night where two young boys found themselves entangled in a web of danger and the supernatural. Brace yourselves for a gripping story of survival as we unravel the heart-pounding events that could have led to certain death. I pose a question to you, dear listeners. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where danger lurked just beyond your awareness? Where the line between life and death blurred with chilling whispers in the shadows? Allow me to transport you to a small village in Multan, Pakistan, where 14-year-old me and my cousin experienced a horrifying brush with fate. It all began with a journey to visit our beloved grandmother. Traveling for 8 intense hours by bus, we arrived in her village, a place tucked deep into the heart of the countryside. A simple horse carriage ride, lasting either an hour on foot or a quick 20 minutes by carriage, was the only path that led us to her doorstep. But this tale unfolds not within the confines of our grandmother's village, but in a neighboring land, where a roadside cinema promised an evening of escapism and delight. Curiosity led my cousin and me to venture forth towards this nearby village, eager to experience something beyond the confines of our city lives in Lahore. With each step, our excitement grew, and after an hour's walk to the main road, we hailed a bus that would take us closer to our destination. The open-air cinema awaited us, its screen a massive white sheet of cloth, and makeshift stools granted us a seat among the villagers. As the movie flickered to life, we immersed ourselves in the unfolding drama, leaving behind the thoughts of the late hour. Little did we know that time was slipping away, and darkness would soon blanket the land. The movie's conclusion, which proved less impressive than anticipated, came far later than we had imagined. Our plans had been upended, and the clock struck 1:30 a.m., leaving us stranded with no buses to return us to our village. Fear began to take root within our hearts as we stood alone at a desolate bus stop, two young boys timidly contemplating the daunting prospect of a 1-hour walk amidst towering sugarcane fields. Hoping for companionship, we waited patiently, scanning the surroundings for any signs of movement. But half an hour passed, and no one else arrived. With trepidation weighing upon us, we hatched a plan. Let us wait at the bus stop until the sun graced the horizon in a few short hours, we thought. And then we would make the journey home with the light as our ally. Behind the bus stop stood a closed workshop, its abandoned bench beckoning to us like a sanctuary in the night. We crouched, hiding behind the bench, shielded from prying eyes. As the clock ticked toward 4 a.m., an ominous chill swept through the air, accompanied by the sound of a car grinding to a halt just in front of our covert enclave. Our breath hitched as the car door swung open, and a man's voice pierced the darkness. Goga had buried her now. My cousin's face grew as pale as death itself, his body trembling with terror. Fearing his sudden outburst might betray our presence, I swiftly covered his mouth with my hand, my finger pressed against my lips as a silent command for silence. Tobacco smoke wafted through the air, indicating the presence of men near our hiding place. One of them, with the audacity of a predator, sat upon our sacred bench, puffing on a cigarette. My heart pounded, threatening to expose our presence with each anxious beat. I regulated my breathing, hoping against hope that the sound of my racing heart would not betray us. Minutes stretched into an eternity, and just as I began to believe we had somehow escaped the clutches of those dangerous men, another car arrived, stopping beside our hiding place. The door creaked open, and a voice rang out, "What happened? Did everything go well?" The man lounging on our bench inquired, his voice laced with a sense of anticipation. The newly arrived figure responded, "Yes, no one would ever find her body." A shiver raced down my spine as I realized the gravity of the situation. The conversation that unfolded before our ears painted a sinister portrait of foul play, secrets buried in deep holes within the woods. Had we stumbled upon a crime scene? Would our lives now be forfeit for our accidental intrusion? The man on our bench sprang to his feet, moving toward the awaiting car. A few agonizing minutes passed, and then the engines roared to life, the vehicles vanishing into the night. We dared not emerge from our hiding place until the first glimmers of daylight began to chase away the shadows. Keeping a safe distance from the incident, we followed the path of the other unsuspecting villagers, making their way back to our village. We remained silent, unable to fathom the horror we had witnessed, nor the life-threatening peril we narrowly escaped. Fear of my mother's wrath and the understandable skepticism of others kept our tongues tied. But within our hearts, we knew the brutal truth. Had the mysterious men discovered our presence, we too would have met our untimely demise, disappearing into a deep hole among the unforgiving woods. The passage of time has done little to erase the harrowing memories etched into our souls. The lesson we learned that night, dear listeners, is to always be cautious of the unseen dangers that lurk in the darkness. For within the breadth of a single breath, the line between life and death can grow chillingly thin. May the tale of our brush with certain death serve as a haunting reminder that fate can be both kind and cruel, and that we are all but whispers in the shadows, vulnerable to the whims of the unknown.